So we're 4 lines from the bottom on Kuflun Lamed Beis Amid Aleph. Got still have work to do. This is all hard work, Yesh Neichel. Tanan Hasan. Hakaisav Nechasav Lebanov, someone who wrote, basically, he wrote all of his Nechasim. He said, I'm giving it to my sons. The Shchime, we'll see later on whether it's talking about the Shchime or not, but he gave it to his sons. Because of Ishtay, Karka Kolshu, and he gave to his wife just a small amount. I mean, so let's say he had 100 square kilometers of 100 acres of karka. He gave 48 to one son and 48 to the other son. And he left over 2 acres for his wife. And she accepted it. He gave it as a gift. Of the ksubas. Now, we had said the din before about someone who gave kol nechasav to his sons. But over here, it was a mix. He gave 98% of it to his sons and 2% to his wife. And as we said before in the previous Gemara, right, when someone accepts, if she would get everything that he would give up her rights to have a shibud for her ksuba. That was what the cases that we were talking about and what circumstance. But the idea is that if a woman accepts the assets of her husband, she's saying, okay, I'm getting the assets, and now I don't need that shibud that I got from the ksuba in the karka to collect. In this case, she only got a small amount. And even so, we're saying she loses her right to the ksuba. So the Gemara asks, of the ksubasa, what sense does that make? She's only getting a little bit. It's not, the assumption is it's not enough to pay her entire ksuba. The rest went to the sons. So mehecha teisa, she's giving up her rights to the ksuba from just taking a small amount of karka. So we're going to see 3 terutzim. The Gemara is going to have 3 terutzim of how to explain this. Amarav mezaka lahen al yad. It's not just that, so we're talking about it. We're not just that he gave her a small amount of karka, but in addition to doing that, she also was the intermediary that was used. She was the one who was mezaka, the karka, the rest of the karka that went to the sons. She was the one who did the chalipin to be kainet. That's what the Rashbam says. She was involved in the handing over the rest of it to the sons. So since she's standing there and she's okay with it being given away, so she can't later on say, "Oh, now I have a prior right to get my ksuba from that karka." Shmuel says a different way of like amping up her acquiescence to this situation, and therefore that she's giving away her shibud. The mechalik l'fanea v'yishay sekas. Shmuel says it's talking about where they did it in front of her. The husband gave the karka to the boys, to his banim, and she got like a small token amount. But and if she meant to keep her shibud, she should have said something. She just said, "What's going on here? You're giving away everything that would be used for my ksuba." The fact that she stood by quietly, that's enough for her to lose her, together with the fact that she got something, that's enough for her to lose her rights to be goyva the ksuba based on, from this karka. A third shita, a third explanation, a third Amayra to explain this Mishnah. It's talking about where the husband had said to her, "Listen, I'm giving you this small amount of karka, and it's going to be for your ksuba." And again, I guess it's another version of her not complaining. It means the second case was where she's standing there and she didn't complain. The Rashbam explains what's the difference between this and the previous answer He's saying, I feel the Rashbam, the last Rashbam, I feel a Haisasham. If the husband said, this is going to be for your ksuba, even if she's not standing there, but she got it and she knows what the message was from her husband, she should have gone and ran over to him and said, no, you owe me a ksuba, and I'm not happy with this, that you're giving me this little bit of karka instead of leaving me with karka that I should have to be able to be gaiva my ksuba later on.
So she's expected to contest something away from her sons.
Well, she needs to live also. Look at it this way. This is her social security, right? That what did a woman, assuming a woman's not going to go to work, right? And she's right? She was the homemaker, and this is her pension. The ksuba is what she has when her husband dies, and now he's giving away the karka, which is what backs it up. She should say, "Listen, you gotta leave over for me. You gotta take care of me."
Yeah, but the ksuba is not an amount that she necessarily, it's going to expire, and then she's going to be reliant on her sons.
You're looking on our scale of money. Maybe that was 200 zuz was enough.
He put her on the corner.
He put her in a tough position.
He put her in that position. Either you contest it and ruin your relationship with your sons.
Okay, money is money. You got to do what you got to do. You go to Besdin. You could say all she has to do is say, I want you to know that this is I want to retain my rights. What we've been talking about telling is that what we've been saying is that when she says this is okay, that she's giving away a right. She has the right to be Gaiver Ksuba, and that predates. She has the first lien. So the question is whether she gave it away. So if she stands there and doesn't say anything, then she's essentially giving it away.
So you put her on the pickle, basically.
Okay, if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah, it's like whatever she does, she hurts herself.
She could just say, she could hire a lawyer and have a lawyer say, I want you to know that Mrs. Cohen is registering her that she wants to retain her rights. Okay, listen, if the sons get upset, then they're not very good sons either. They're also not guiltless.
They're more like the father.
Okay, but in any case, these are the three variations of how to add what we add on. We say that it's not just that that she got a little piece of karka and therefore she gave up her shibud, but there was also some indication either she said something or her husband said something and she didn't. She said, that means where she participated or she was there, she was physically there and didn't say anything. Now this is something that was saying without this, she would, if she didn't do one of these things, she would lose it. Gemara says this is one of the things that we want to make it easy, that a husband will not be reluctant to give a ksuba because it's going to cause acrimony later. So by saying that she can lose it if she takes this small amount of karka and she doesn't register objections in one of these ways, in one of these circumstances, it's we're making it easier for people to make a ksuba. Like the Rashbam brings, like when your person comes to be gaiva the ksuba, they only get from ziburis, from the most the cheapest land, because the Chachamim wanted to make it that people were not reluctant to get married. When you look around the United States right now, you can understand why. People are very uninterested in getting married, and a big part of the reason is because they feel like it's a bad deal. The Chachamim were a lot smarter. They said we're not going to make the ksuba an onerous obligation. The man is saying, "What do I'm going to have to hire fancy lawyers to make sure that my sons get my Yerusha and my wife doesn't end up taking it away from them." Okay, so that's the machloikis about the explanation of that tan of the Mishnah that we brought that says hakaisim nechasel bana b'kasel ishtei karka kolshu of the ksubasa. Mishum, we said mishum the kasel yeah. As long as he wrote her a small amount of karka, she loses it. Rabbi Yosi is the safe of that Mishnah. Rabbi Yosi Aimer in Kibla Allah, Aval Pishalei Kosav law of the Ksubasa. Rabbi Yossi says, no, it's not true. If she was makabel on herself, which we understand that to mean not that it's not where like we said before, that the husband said something and she was quiet, or she was standing there and watched it and it was quiet. He says it has to be that she was makabel on herself. She said in her voice, she opened up her mouth and she said, it's okay. Okay, so I'm going to lose my ksuba. And in that case, avo pishaloi kasavla, even though she didn't receive any portion of karka of the ksuba, so that's enough. So that's the machlekes. Tanakama said he has to give her a piece of karka. Rabbi Yossi says if she was makabel, if she said something, even though she didn't receive anything, she loses the ksuba. So the Tanakama said boy. And the way that Rabbi Yossi phrased it, he said, if she was makabel, even though she didn't get anything, then she's accepting and she's losing her shibud of the ksuba. That sounds like the Tanakama holds. You need both. It needs both that she should get something, and also that that she has to say it out loud.
Is it the same Rav Yossi?
Not like, sorry.
Is it the same Rav Yossi?
Is it the
Second
same?
Amira? Yeah. Rav Yossi Bachanina?
That's a Amira. Yeah. Now we're talking about a Tana. This is a Tana. This is the safe of the original Mishnah.
Just want to make sure they're saying something similar, but not exactly the same.
Well, it's not the same thing. Adarabah, this is a kasha. Well, they're saying right. You're right that it's similar, but Rabbi Yossi is saying he's saying more than all of the previous Amoraim. He's saying it's not enough just to be quiet. She has to affirmatively state that I am giving up my rights.
Yeah.
So it's further than anything. So it's shver, because the Gemara seems to be from Rabbi Yossi is mashma that the Tanakama was saying that you need both. That Rabbi Yossi is saying all you need is Kabbalah. You don't have to give over anything. But the mashmayis, from the way he says it, is that the Tanakama holds you do need both. You need both. I'm sorry.
These are saying two different things. In other words, Yossi is machmer on one, if you want to call that, and Mekel on the other.
So I'm saying the Rashbam explains. You're going to see from the Gemara. We're going to go back and forth with this. Maybe it is all Rabbi Yossi, but the idea is that from the mashmayis of the way Rabbi Yossi says it, of the ksubasa, that lashon, that way of expressing it, is mashma that the Tanakama held you need both. I understand what you're saying, and I would have also understood it that way, and that's what the Gemara is going to actually suggest in a minute. If you look at this, Michlal, that's about 10 lines down in the narrow lines, in the Rashbam, Michlal, the Shamer Rabbi Yossi Tanakama, from the way Rabbi Yossi said in Maksiva, you need a Kabbalah Gemur of Shlika, but you need a Kabbalah Gemur where she says it in Maksiva. Then he said the Ksiva L'chod Ka'amar, if the Amira, if the Tanakama was saying the way it was explained by Zamarim that all you need is just giving over karka, of the ksubasa. Even though he I'm sorry. Rabbi of the ksubasa, elam kain kibla la. Rabbi Yossi said, even though it was handed over to her, even though she got some karka, unless she was makabelit, she's not going to get it. But from the way he said it, alpha bishakasav of the ksub im kibla la, they're saying it as an affirmative thing. It's masha the Tanakama disagreed. Okay, so we're left with a question on these Amoraim that they had understood that different ways of the woman acquiescing to losing her shibud on top of the fact that she got a little bit of karka, that she was quiet or she was involved in she was zeicha the karka to them, or either she was standing there and watched it, or she heard that he said that she's going to lose a ksuba. but not that she actually said it by herself that I'm giving it up. But now it's saying, from the Gemara is asking, that mashmayis of Rabbi Yossi is that he holds that you need a full-fledged, that she says herself, I'm masking to lose my ksuba. Talking about v'chitema, kula Rabbi Yossi. Maybe it's going to be that the whole mission is Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi is not coming to say, Rabbi Yossi Aimerim Kibbel Le'af Apishal Kasav Law of the Ksubasa. It's not coming to say, he's not coming to contrast his shita with the Tanakama. Adarabba, he's refining the ratio of the mission. The whole mission is really Rabbi Yossi. So first Rabbi Yossi said, if it's Kasav Law, if she got a little bit of karka, then she loses the ksuba. And then he's saying there also is a case if she didn't get the ksuba. So now, then the lashon of Rabbi Yossi it has a different flavor. He's saying, although we just said, I just myself said that if she got karka, she could lose the ksuba with a little bit of help, but with some type of extra type of agreement. But he's saying, but you should just know, even though she didn't get anything, she could also lose the ksuba if she's makabel fully. So that would make sense. And then there's no kasha on these Amoraim of how they explained it. So, but that can't be about Tanya. Amar Yehuda, Sham. There's a brisa. Yehuda says, Masai. How do we understand the Tanakama? Shahoishasham v'kibla, that she was there and she was makabel on herself. That means she said it. He says very clearly that the Tanakama, now it's not even a mashmayis from the lashon of Rabbi Yossi. He's saying very clearly that according to the Tanakama, you need both factors. You need both that she was makabel and that she received some karka, which confirms what we had deduced from Rabbi Yossi's way of saying it. So Gemara tiyufta dekula tiyufta einachanami. It's the kasha on all of them, on all of their explanations. Now, even though it's a kasha, the Gemara doesn't. I think tiyufta doesn't necessarily mean that we're moving away, because now the Gemara comes and asks, still, how do you paskin on this? Amalei Ravaler of Nachman. Rabba said to Rav Nachman, Harav, Hashmul, Harav Yossi Bachanina. We have all these different explanations of how it could be that a woman who got a little bit of karka, together with the sons getting the rest of it, that she's considered to have given up her ksuba. We had different explanations of what she had to add on, what additional right there has to be that she should lose her rights to the ksuba. So which one do you hold like? Mar, my svirale. He said, Amalei Shani Aimer. He says, no, really, as the Rashbam explains, I hold really like Rabbi Yossi, like the seif of the Mishnah. Kivin also shutaf bein abonim of the ksubasa. He says, since she became a partner, the reason why she gives it up is because since she received some karka, it's not just the karka itself, that the small amount of karka that induces her to give up and lose her ksuba. It's because she feels very good about the fact that she's now being treated as someone with a seat at the table. So it's some kind of like nachas ruach. That's what's inducing her to give up her ksuba. So therefore, you don't need. This is what the. Let's look at the Rashbam. Shutta bein abanim. Shekasav lami karka kolshu machla. As long as you gave her a little bit of karka, she's meichel. You don't need any additional proof. He holds, like according to Rabbi Yossi, that it's enough with one, either a kabbalah or ksiba. Right? And now we're understanding Rabbi Yossi himself holds that Rabbi Yossi, we were darshaning from the mashmayos of Rabbi Yossi what the Tanakhama holds. But Rabbi Yossi himself had said that you just need one out of the two. So he's saying, I'm going to go like Rabbi Yossi, that all you need is giving over karka. And why does that work? Because the karka is like, she feels like she's being treated like an adult. She's getting something. She's being, so she doesn't really care about that she's going to have money. She's going to have to live on cat food when she's older. But in the meantime, she got treated as a full-fledged partner. So that's the way Rav Nachman learns. Itmarnami, I'm Rav Yosef bar Menyumi, I'm Rav Nachman. Kivin also shot the ben abanim of the ksubasa. Says it straight out. Boy Rava, Beberia Hayish. Again, we have the same format like we've had in the past few Gemaras. We have a whole discussion about something that we say, is this only talking about a shchimira, or is it also talking about a beria? Meaning, that which we say, I think we're really continuing with what Rav Nachman just said, with the maskana that we said according to Rav Nachman. I think, but it really could go on any of them, any of these, the shitas. They were saying giving karka. When you give karka, that makes her give up her rights to the ksuba. Is that only when she's a shchemera, or is it even when he's a shchemera that he does this, or is it even when he's a beri if it's well before he does? So Gemara asks, maybe it's only when he's the husband is a shchemera. So she knows that he's giving away everything, right? It's talking about he gave everything to the sons, and the leftover small amount he gave to her, and she says, okay, there's nothing left, so I'm giving up on ever getting a ksuba. Alva beberia savra hadakani, but maybe by a beria, which is when he's young, hale, and hearty, she says maybe someday he'll win the lottery and he'll have more money. So I'm not just because I'm accepting this karka doesn't mean I'm giving up my chances to get my ksuba. So once I'm not giving up on my ksuba, I'm also not giving up my lien on the karka that was being given over. Dilma, hashtamias lesla. Or do you say, no, in the meantime, right now, he is giving up everything he has, right? We're talking about he gave all of his nechasim except for this small amount to her. So she's saying, okay, I'm taking this bit of karka, and like Rav Nachman, for example, I'm being treated as one of the partners, so I'm not thinking about that he's going to someday get more money. The ksuba is totally out of my mind. I never expect to get it. So tomorrow, teku. We don't know. Hahuda amalahu. I'm going to give a few different examples. Hahuda amalahu palga lebras palga lebras v'tilsa leisis peri. Tilsas leisis beperi. Saying I'm giving half to one son, and I'm saying half to one daughter and half to another daughter. And my wife, she should get a third of these payers. So it means all the karka was given away to the daughters, and the payers were given to the wife. So again, this whole discussion that we've been having has always been where he's giving all of his karka away. But in this case, in addition to the karka, he's also giving away some payers to her. Is that going to be considered that everything is gone and therefore she's maskim to give away her ksuba? Iklar of Nachman l'Sura. Nachman came to Surah, oil legabe Rav Chizda, and he came to Rav Chizda, and he asked him, Amalei ki hagavna mai, what's the din in such a case? Amalei hachi amar Shmuel. This is what Shmuel said. Afilu hikna la ela dekel echad lepereisav of the ksubas. He says that Shmuel said, even if all she is entitled to is to get the peiros of a single dekel, so now she's gotten something, that's considered a sufficient participation, according to the way Rav Nachman understands it. That's going to be enough to get her out of that she's lost, she's willing to give up her ksuba. Amalei, he said to him, but that's not what I'm talking about here. Amalei, Emad Amar Shmuel Hasam Da'akla B'gufa Da'ara. Shmuel talked about a case where she got the rights to the peiros of a single dekel. So that's a sort of karka type of a right. She's entitled to the produce of a single date tree. Hacha peiruhu. Over here, all I'm talking about, I didn't mean that she was getting the rights to certain peiros from a dekel. She got he had a storehouse. He had actual peiros that were already taken off the tree. So Amalei metaltli ka'amim, metaltli vade lo ka'amim. Said, of course, obviously, if you're talking about actual peiros, she's not giving up her rights. Metaltli metaltali don't insure her ksuba. Her ksuba is only the lien. The ksuba is only an entitlement to take karka, giving her a little bit of paris, a little bit of metaltalin. It's like letting her go buy groceries. It has nothing to do. That's day to day. There's nothing to do. There's no reason she'd even object at that time. She didn't get anything. She doesn't feel like she's a partner amongst the other banim. And certainly, I never intended to say under those circumstances that she would give up her ksuba.
What happens if her husband doesn't own any karka?
Well, then she's gonna have a hard time collecting the ksuba anyway.
So she has no lien on his bank account.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. That's certainly what seems to have been indicated from the past bunch of Gemaras. I would have to go back to Ksubas a while ago. I was back in Nashim. That was at least a year ago. I think so. I think it's only from Karka. Hahud Amalu, Tilsa Labras, the Tilsa Labras, a third should go to one daughter, and another third should go to another daughter. The Tilsa Laisis, and a third should go to this wife. He's giving it to her as a matana. So that's the way he's giving away all the property. And now, so she got her third now, but there's nothing left for her to get the ksuba from later. But then shchiva chadami banse. One of the daughters died before the husband died. He had already given it away, and then the daughter died. And now, when she dies, her father, she had no sons, so went back to her father. So Rapapi wanted to say, this karka that went back to the husband, the wife, when she accepted her karka, she gave up her rights to any karka. She gave up her lien, and this karka that came back, she had already given up her rights to it. So even though now it belongs back to the husband, she's lost her ability to claim it for the ksuba as having a lien from the ksuba since she already had given it up. Amalei Kahana said, this doesn't make any sense. Ilu hadakani mila shakla, had the husband gone ahead and was kind of new karka, that would certainly be part of the ksuba. You couldn't say that she gave up her rights to the shibud of newly acquired karka by the husband. But even to hadakani shakla, since if he purchased something new, she would get ksuba from it. Hashnami shakla, she should also get from something that he reacquired, even though she had given up her rights to that karka. That was only she gave up her rights when it went to the daughter, but now it's reacquired by the husband. It doesn't make a difference where it came from, even if she had given it up to in its status as being by the other daughter. Now she wants to get it back, so therefore she never gave up her rights, and therefore she'll be able to collect the ksuba from it. He gave up all of his property to his wife and his sons. He divided up. He gave her some, and she gave them some. So that should be like where someone gave up kol nechasav, and therefore she should have lost her rights to get the ksuba. Shayir chadikla, but she left over one dekel, one date tree, which is obviously not enough to pay the ksuba from. That's still by the husband. He wanted to say she was maskim. She accepted her partnership and everything else, and the only thing she could get from is that one dekel, because that's all that was left. If she doesn't get anything, she shouldn't even get that dekel, because that's supposed to be inherited by the brothers. So like the Rashbam says, all that was left over from Ksuba was that one dekel. Had the husband not left over that one day, she would have lost her Ksuba. Shemachal Hem Shibuda, because she was Michael that she allowed them to. She didn't say anything, and therefore it means she's going along with losing her shibud. From the Nasa Shutta Beineim, Hashanami Zacha Abanim He Titr Dekel. So now also the Banim should get the dekel, and she shouldn't be able to get from it. Ella migo the nachla. I'm sorry.
The heat of the decal, she should be able to collect only from the decal. No?
Hashanam is Zachu Abanim. No. She only gets the dekel. She shouldn't even be able. He was saying she shouldn't even be able to get that one dekel. That's what he's saying. She should lose the dekel because she was masking to the whole thing. She was masking to lose her schusim, and they should be able to yarsh the dekel because it's not enough to pay the ksuba. I'm sorry, Ella. So he says no. Since she was so Ravina says Elamai must be since she gave up on the dekel, she's giving up on everything. Okay, that's the last example of the last case where we're going to apply this to. Amar Rav Huna, Shchimei Kasav Kol Nechasav La'achar. So a Shchimei who says, I'm giving away all my nechasim to someone who's not one of my yarshim. Roy and Imroy, I'm saying, gave it to someone. Roy and Imroy liyarsha, no, l'mishum Yerusha. Depending on what this person who is giving it to, if it was one of his sons, then he gets it as Yerusha, like Rabbi Yochanan ben Bereika says, that he could designate someone to be his Yerush. But if not, it's a matana. Amli Rav Nachman, Ganva Ganuvi, Lamalach. Why do you have to be so confusing to say this din that if it's able to be Yerush, then he Yarshins? Yisrael Rabbi Yochanan ben Bereika, Ema Lach Rabbi Yochanan ben Bereika. Why don't you just say Halach is like Rabbi Yochanan ben Bereika? That's essentially what you're saying. He says that's essentially what you're saying. Is he's saying that if it was his Yerush, then he's able to give preference, favor one of the Yarshim. So Gemara no. Someone was dying and they said, who do you want to give your nechasim to? Dilma leplanya, maybe you want to give it to this guy. If not him, who should I give it to? And we said on this, so he says maybe I don't really see how this is very different than what we had said before, but the point of this rephrasing is to say that the point was that there's a distinction between whether it's a Yerush or a Matana. It wasn't to point out that if it's a Yerush, it works as a Yerush. The point was that the two things are different dinim. Amalei in Hachika Amina. He says, that's what I was trying to say. I wasn't trying to say that Allah is like Rabbi Yochanan ben Bereika. Rather, I was trying to say that there are distinctions between whether it's treated as a matana, if it's not a Yerush, or if it is a Yerush, it's treated as Yerusha. So what difference does it make? The difference will be if it's a Yerusha, the din is an almana is able to get mezainis. Even part of the ksuba is, in addition to her 200 zuz, I guess this is what I should have thought of also, she also has an entitlement to get regular maintenance payments, to get mezainis, to keep her going until she remarries. From the karka. From the karka.
The sons.
Yes. So, but if it's a Yerusha, but if it's a sale, or it's a matana, he gave it away. It's not part of his estate. It belongs to some other person. Amalei Rava, Migra Gara, Hashta Biyush, the Raisa Amad Amanasan designers Menachasa, Matana Rabban like Kolshikain. He says, we're talking about a shchemera. A shchemera really can't be makna. You can't really be makna something that it should be given over after you die. It's a takonis chachamim that a matna shchemera works. So now you're going to say that on the Yerusha Deraisa, the Chachamim said that she gets the Zionist. and on this at the Chamul Misakin that is Matna Shchimera works, she's going to lose the Mezainis. So certainly the Chacham didn't intend for the Matna Shchimera to take away the Mezainis. So no, it's not. It wouldn't make a difference whether it's a Yerusha or a Matna Shchimera. She's still entitled to Mezainis. Elamarava Shalach Avachabar Rav Avia LeDivrei Rabbi Yochanan Breika Nichse Lach V'Acharecha LePlini Im HaYerushin Roy LeYasher Ein L'Sheni Barakim Rishon Kul. If according to Rabbi Yochanan Breika, if you want to say that you can designate one person to be a Irish, what happens if the mace said, I wanted to go to Ruvain, but after Ruvain dies, rather than going to Ruvain's children as their Yerusha, it should go to Shimon, should go to a different person. You say, no, it doesn't work. She'ein ze losha matana losha Yerusha. Yerusha ein lahefsek. A person cannot say, I want to make a t'nai in a Yerusha. The Yerusha wants to go to someone it's his, and it goes to his Yarsha. Amalei Rav Nachman va'ifseka. Rav Nachman said, but he did it. He made it t'nai. So why does the t'nai work? Zakama husava lo, husava yesh lahefsek, rachmana ein lahefsek. When it says, oh, okay, he made it t'nai, but you can't make the masna masha because of a Torah. You try to make a hefsek, but it didn't work, and it's not going to go because it is a matana. Someone talked this case happened. Someone said to his chaver, this is Yonachosim, and afterwards I wanted to go to Pliny. And the first one was a Yerush. Have a shach of Rishon, also Sheni Katapa. The first one died, and then the Seni said, listen, the original t'nai of the Yerusha was that it should go to me. So Rav Elish Kamei the Rav Lamema Sheni Namishakal. He said, "Oh, maybe he should get." That was the t'nai of the person who gave the Yerusha. Amalei daini the chatzasa hachi, the chatzasa hachi daini. This is you're going to make a dian, and you're going to compromise, and give some to this person who's asking for it. Lav hainu the shalach Rav Acha Barabia. This is what Rav Acha Barabia paskin, that there's no hefsek in a Yerusha, and the taka it goes to the yarshim of the first one. It wasn't within the capacity of the person who gave it to make such a snide. And he said, don't worry that you made the wrong psak. The Rebbeinu Shalom sent me here to save you from making, you don't have to be embarrassed. This is the way the Rebbeinu Shalom doesn't, you have a siyata d'shmai, you're not going to make a mistake. Okay. Have a good Shabbos.
Have a good Shabbos, everyone.